From whiskey to wine, how Trump's tariffs are shaking up international markets. If you thought the global economy was on cruise control, think again, because Trump just threw a wrench into the engine, put the car in reverse, and floored it. With a fresh wave of tariffs, the international business world feels like a Vegas poker table where everyone's suddenly playing with loaded dice. Some industries are scrambling to cash out, while others are doubling down, hoping they don't go bust. And guess who's stuck in the middle? That's right, we the consumers. Prices, jobs, and even our beloved weekend whiskey sours are now on the negotiating table. Buckle up, because this is going to be one wild economic ride. Overview of the new tariffs. On February 1st, 2025, President Trump took the global economy and gave it a dramatic plot twist by slapping a 25% tariff on all goods from Canada and Mexico, while China got hit with a 10% tariff. His reasoning was to curb illegal immigration and crack down on fentanyl trafficking.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people to come in, and fentanyl.
Now, whether or not tariffs are the best tool for that job is up for debate. But what's not debatable is the immediate ripple effect. And oh boy, was that ripple more of a tidal wave. For starters, U.S. steel and aluminum manufacturers popped champagne. Figuratively, of course, since actual champagne just got way more expensive. With foreign competition shrinking, American-made metals became the hot new commodity. Sounds like a win, right? Well, tell that to companies like Anheuser-Busch, whose beer cans now cost a whole lot more to produce. Imagine paying extra for your Bud Light because of geopolitics. What a time to be alive. And let's not forget the tech world. Apple, which sources components from all over the globe, found itself in a logistical nightmare. If you thought iPhones were expensive before, just wait till you see the tariff-adjusted prices. If you want a new MacBook, you might have to sell a kidney, and thanks to healthcare costs, that might not even be enough. The auto industry wasn't spared either. Ford, GM, and Tesla, which rely on parts shipped in from Mexico and Canada, are looking at price hikes that could make your next car loan feel like a mortgage. Forget self-driving cars. We might all be back to bicycles at this rate. And it's not just corporations feeling the burn. Everyday consumers are too. From groceries to clothing, prices across the board are inching upward. That extra 25% isn't just coming out of a billionaire CEO's pocket. It's showing up on your receipt at checkout. The scariest part is, this was only phase one of the tariff war. Escalation with the European Union. As if things weren't spicy enough, on February 26th, Trump took to the podium and announced another round of tariffs. This time, a 25% tax on all goods coming from the European Union. Trump, never one to hold back, boldly declared that the EU was formed to screw the United States. Now, whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that the man has a talent for turning international trade policy into a WWE promo. But here's where things get messy. The EU is home to some of the world's biggest automakers, including Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz, which are the very cars that Americans love to drive. These tariffs threaten to add thousands of dollars to the price tag of imported vehicles. Do you want that new BMW 3 Series? Boy, just try adding a Trump tax to it and see the prices hike. European officials were, to put it mildly, not amused. The European Commission estimated that these tariffs would hit about 28 billion euros worth of trade, which is more than double the impact of the previous rounds. In other words, this was no slap on the wrist. This was a full-scale economic brawl. And the worst part is that this wasn't just about cars. Luxury goods, high-end fashion, and even cheese got caught in the crossfire. That's right, your beloved French Brie and Italian Parmesan just got a whole lot pricier. Suddenly, that charcuterie board is looking like a serious financial investment. Moreover, with EU leaders scrambling to respond, the stakes in this trade war just got much higher. Plus, the battle lines were drawn for what came next: full-blown economic retaliation. Retaliatory measures and global impact. If history has taught us anything, it's that nobody likes getting slapped with tariffs. And in true international fashion, the response from Europe was swift and ruthless. The EU went straight for the jugular, American whiskey. Starting immediately, European countries announced a 50% tax on American whiskey, a move that hit the U.S. right where it hurts. Bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, Kentucky's finest. Suddenly, these iconic American exports became twice as expensive overseas. Distilleries across the South started ringing alarm bells, warning this would cripple their industry. And as for Trump, well, he wasn't about to take that lying down. His response was a 200% tariff on European alcoholic beverages, including wines, champagnes, and even some beers. France, Italy, and Spain, which are some of the biggest wine exporters to the U.S., were now facing the economic equivalent of a nuclear strike. So what does this mean for you, the consumer? Well, if you're a whiskey lover in Europe, your weekend drink just got pricier than you can actually afford. And if you're a wine enthusiast in the U.S., get ready to see prices skyrocket on your favorite bottles. A Bordeaux that used to cost $20, well, that might be $60 now. And the champagne for New Year's, you might want to settle for sparkling cider instead. But it didn't stop there. Markets reacted violently to the escalating tensions. Stock indices started dipping as investors feared prolonged economic instability. Importers and exporters were scrambling to adjust pricing models. Meanwhile, American consumers were left wondering whether they should stock up on whiskey now before it becomes a luxury item. Even major airlines started expressing concern. With the cost of imported aircraft components rising, ticket prices could soon follow. That dream vacation to Europe might cost you a whole lot more than you budgeted for. This wasn't a trade war anymore. This was turning into an all-out economic battlefield with no end in sight. Domestic and international response. Trade wars don't happen in isolation. Every tariff sends shockwaves through the whole economy, and right now, those shockwaves are hitting U.S. businesses hard. Domestically, U.S. industries that rely on imported materials are waving red flags, from car manufacturers to distilleries. Businesses are scrambling to adjust to rising costs and supply chain chaos. Take Brow Brothers Distillery, Kentucky's first African-American-owned distillery, as an example. They've been trying to expand globally, but these unpredictable tariffs have thrown a wrench into their business plans. One day, they're shipping bourbon to Europe without issue. The next, their bottles are slapped with heavy tariffs, making American whiskey about as welcome in France as a flat soda at a Kentucky Derby party. Internationally, the backlash has been just as fierce. Leaders from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union have slammed the tariffs, calling them unjustified and counterproductive. Australia is even considering taking legal action through the World Trade Organization, arguing that the U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum violate global trade rules. And when Australia, one of America's closest allies, starts thinking about a lawsuit, you know things are getting messy. Even American companies manufacturing in the U.S. aren't safe. The global economy is so interconnected that these tariffs are raising costs across the board, making it clear this trade war isn't just about punishing foreign nations, it's creating domestic headaches too. Historical context and future outlook. If history tells us anything, tariffs often do more harm than good. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 worsened the Great Depression by collapsing global trade. Even Trump's first-term tariffs in 2018 and 2019 backfired, raising consumer prices and costing U.S. households over $1,200 per year. Now we're staring down another potential economic mess. If more countries retaliate, this trade war could escalate into a global showdown, damaging jobs, investments, and the stock market. Businesses might cut costs and workers, while consumer prices climb even higher. The only way out is negotiation. Trump has brokered deals before, like the USMCA, so a resolution isn't off the table. But if tensions keep rising, we could see a prolonged period of uncertainty that makes 2018's tariff battles look like child's play. Tariffs may sound like a power move, but they come at a cost that businesses, workers, and consumers will feel for months or years to come. So if you're a whiskey drinker, a car buyer, or just someone who likes affordable groceries, brace yourself. The cost of living just entered a whole new playing field. The next few months will determine whether this trade war fizzles out or explodes into an all-out economic showdown. Want to stay ahead of these economic shakeups? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the biggest financial stories shaping our world. Do you think Trump's tariffs will pay off, or are they a disaster in the making? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.